What up? I know I'm finally back with a YouTube video. It's been literally a year. But I'm here, I'm back. So this video, as you can read below, it's about how, why, when, what, who, where, blah, I went vegan. So, cause I always get asked that a lot. Like, Sabrina, how'd you go vegan? Why'd you go vegan? Isn't it expensive to go vegan? And I'm gonna answer all of that for you guys right now. So if you're interested in finding out, stay tuned and watch. I first went vegetarian, right? I went vegetarian when I was 20. And the reason I went vegetarian is because my homegirl, she was vegan at the time, actually. Or was she vegetarian? I don't know. I think she was vegan at the time. And me being the Hispanic Caribbean woman that I am, barely a woman because I was 20 years old, I was like, ooh, girl, I could never do that. Like, I could never. Are you eating vegetables today and rice? I can never do that. I can never do that. I always need to eat meat. Pause. Like, I don't know. That's literally what I always told her. But then one day I was like, why am I saying that I could never do something that I've never even attempted to do, right? And at 20 years old, you don't really want to put that kind of mental block, or any age really, you don't ever want to put that kind of mental block on yourself. You never want to say, I can never, if you've never even tried. Like, what is the point of that? You know what I mean? Really, you're just preventing yourself from being greater than whatever, regardless of what you're saying I can never do, whether it's like eating vegan, or I can never jump high, or I can never get strong or lose weight, or I can never get that man. Like, honey, yes you can. I promise you can. You gotta say, yes I can. Once I said I can never, and then I realized, hold on, let me try. So one day I told my mom, I'm like, look mom, I'm gonna stop eating meat. And she was like, okay. And I was just like, okay. Mind you, my mother's Puerto Rican and she cooks all the time, and like, my father's Dominican, but my mother, she cooked very like Dominican and Puerto Rican. Like, she was just like, my mother could cook, let me tell you. So obviously she made a lot of like rice, beans, meat, tostones, whatever, right? But she was so like down. Like, I love my mother, shout out to my mom. She was like, okay, I'm gonna make you something. I'm like, okay, sure, like, I'm excited. So she buys tofu and she's like, I'm gonna make you this tofu. And I'm like, oh, okay, mom, that's really sweet. My homegirl Jamie was there. And so I was like, yo, my mom's gonna make me tofu. Like, she's gonna make us food that we can eat. And I was like, oh my God, yay. And my mom is so cute because she didn't realize that she had to drain the tofu, right? So she basically puts the sofrito, like she puts the tomato paste, the adobo, all this stuff in a pot with some tofu. She's like, yes, this is about to be mad delicious. Well, being that she didn't drain it, it turned into liquid. And I was like, oh. She's like, oh, what happened? Like, we all were like, I don't know. Like, none of us have made tofu before. So yeah, now that I'm older, wiser, and vegan as fuck, I now know, like, oh mom, you forgot to drain the tofu. But I really appreciated her effort. It really just started with me going vegetarian, which at first I wasn't that good at, because I wasn't really trying, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't really, that's all it is. Like, if you don't try and you don't attempt to educate yourself on stuff, you're not gonna succeed. Like, if you wanna do anything and you wanna be successful at it, you have to educate yourself. I'm sorry, my hair is annoying me. So the most important thing to do whenever you're trying to do anything, whether it's go vegetarian, go vegan, go anything, I don't know, Google is our friend. Google is our best friend sometimes, depending on what you're trying to Google. I wasn't hip to that the first few years of being vegetarian. I was just like, yo, let me get that with no meat. Not understanding that like things were probably made in the same fryer as meat, or this and that, or blah, blah, blah. I slowly, like, I wasn't really doing that much like eggs. I never liked eggs like that. So I never really ate eggs. Cheese, after a while, cheese kind of grossed me out. So I was just like, I just completely got rid of cheese. And this was all myself. Like, I wasn't being told, I wasn't none of that. Like, one thing that annoyed me growing up were those like pushy vegans and vegetarians. And I swore to myself, I will never be one of those. If you ask me a question and you're curious about being vegan or vegetarian, I will be more than happy to answer and like whatever, but I'm not gonna shove that shit down your throat. Like, I won't, I promise you. Maybe, I don't know, depends on who you are. If you're on the brink of like dying, I might be like, bruh, change your life right now, like, let's go. But besides that, no, I refuse to be one of those like vegan. I mean, I stopped eating cheese, and the only thing that really held me back was ice cream. I loved ice cream. Like, ice cream was everything to me. Like, I really loved ice cream. And then I discovered vegan ice cream, right? And then I was like, oh, like, I guess veganism isn't that bad or whatever. And then I met a man that you may all know as BadAssVegan. And we became friends via Twitter or something like that. And like, this was before he even was who he is now. Like, he barely had any followers. He was just like, he was just a regular tall ass vegan dude, just eating vegetables all up in these streets. And he really put me onto a lot of stuff. Like, before I even met him though, like before I ever like became like social media friends with him, I did watch Meet Your Meat. And Meet Your Meat, if you don't know what it is, you're on YouTube right now, look up Meet Your Meat. It's a little graphic, but it's not, I don't think it's that graphic because it's legit what's going on. Like, I think if you can't face the truth, then why are you still consuming the stuff that you can't even face to see where it comes from? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. But whatever, to each his own, you know what I mean? Again, I'm not gonna be one of them vegans. Meet Your Meat definitely was an eye-opener. And then John, BadAssVegan, he just really like, he was like, yo, just go vegan. Like, cause I told him, I was like, yeah, I wanna go vegan. He's like, then go vegan. Like, it wasn't like a, oh wow, do you? No, he's just like, go, all right, dude, go vegan. And I'm like, okay, I will. I just stopped eating all that stuff. I went to grocery stores and like, I looked for alternatives because I feel like alternatives, I don't really like too much alternatives these days. Like, I try to stay away from it, but back then, I think for transitioning vegans, I think alternatives are great, and it's a great way to like ease yourself into it, like mock meats or mock cheeses or whatever. Like, I think it's a great way to ease yourself into the idea of being vegan, eating plant-based, whatever it may be, because vegan and plant-based are two different things. I'll get into that maybe now, maybe another time, I don't know, but it's definitely two different things. I consider myself vegan because not only do I not consume animals, I don't wear them. I don't like using products that test on animals, like, you know, stuff like that. Like, I just try to stay away from anything that harms an animal. And you know, none of us are perfect. You can't be perfect. Once in a while, like, you can accidentally buy something that like you're thinking is vegan, and then you find out later, like, oh, they test on animals, and it's like, why? A lot of companies are doing that right now because they're selling to bigger companies, and it's like, whatever. That's a completely different video altogether. But as far as veganism being expensive, if you go to a vegan restaurant, of course. If you go to any restaurant, it's expensive. If you go to a steakhouse, it's expensive. Like, so of course it's expensive, like, if you're eating out constantly. But if you're eating at home and you're cooking a lot, vegetables, I usually stick to like frozen vegetables, because one, sometimes I'll forget I have something and I won't cook it in time, and then it goes bad, and then it's just like, it's all bad, and yeah. So you buy some frozen vegetables for like $2 to $3, a can of beans for like whatever cents. I don't know where you're watching this from, so it could be cheaper where you're at. Some quinoa, some rice, whatever. Starchy root vegetables like potatoes or sweet potatoes or whatever. But it's not really that expensive, and you can make a magnificent, lavish, crazy, insane meal. You could blow people's minds with such little ingredients. Like you get some coconut milk and some curry, and you throw all of that in a pot with the potatoes and the vegetables, and you cook some rice on the side. People be like, yo. And I was like, yeah. If you compare meat products to vegetables, I don't know. Actually, you know what's crazy? It's been 13 years, almost 13 years, like 12 something. It's almost, I don't know, it's been a long time since I've actually eaten meat or bought meat at a store or anything like that. So I have no idea what the price is these days. So like, I guess I can't really speak on that. Like I deadass don't know them. I don't. What am I gonna look at the prices for? Like, oh, I wonder how much chicken is these days. Like, I don't care. How much is Beyond Meat chicken? Like, when are they gonna lower the price to that? Like, make that $3 or something. But I think it's the same. It might be the same price as real chicken. I don't know. I think it's like $4 something now. Beyond Meat, holla at me, man. Cause I make such greatness. I don't even want to talk about that. Another question I get asked is like, how are you Latin and like vegan? I just am. It's just what I am. Well, I hope that this video was somewhat helpful, and I hope a lot of you are going to consider, maybe, possibly, going vegan 1 day a week. 1 day a week is all I'm asking for, and then 2 days a week, and then maybe let's just go a whole week. Go a whole week going vegan. Like, slowly ease yourself into it. You know what I mean? Now remember, don't ever say never.